Hello everyone, this is Jen from Jen Stamps. I am going to make a card today, a masculine card. It could be used for Father's Day, or you could change it out and make it a birthday card, depending on which sentiment you use. My Happy Father's Day sentiment came out of the April 2020 paper pumpkin. Had a lot of great family sentiments. There's a Mother's Day one in there. It was a great paper pumpkin. It was geared towards family cards, sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, grandmas, and grandpas. It was really nice. But we're going to be using the Clubhouse papers, designer series paper, and I used the stitched rectangle dies to cut out my designer series paper, and we're going to paper piece those on a whisper white layer for your background, and then we die cut garden green using stitched shapes dies. I used the largest square. Then the second to largest square I did in Night of Navy. And then the dies that come with the Clubhouse suite, the golf dies, I used this one that goes with the shield, I guess crest, like a family crest. And I die cut that right out of it, and then when you pop up that layer, it shows the green underneath. I thought it was an easier way to use this. I've used this shape on its own, and it's a little tricky to adhere it and get it straight. This was a super easy way to make sure that it was straight and square. Then we cut out the crest using the crest die, and that is our new bumblebee color, which really looks similar to the yellow that is in this DSP. Then this particular suite came with, it's called the Country Club Twine Combo Pack. So I thought I used a piece of twine just to give it another accent, and I didn't want to do a bow. It's a masculine card, and I thought it kept it more masculine. And on the inside, I just used another stitch shape and did a stamp of a golf ball. This card, if you don't put a golf stamp on it, it could be not golf related, but if you want it more golf related, well then by all means use the stamps. And this is the stamp set if you haven't seen it. He has a really nice golfer and the club, and my happy birthday did come from this set, and it does have a happy Father's Day. It's golf related, and that's about it. So let's get started and let's make the card. My base layer is Balmy Blue, and that is cut 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25. And then we have our Whisper white layer that we're going to piece our designer series papers on. And you can really put them in both sides of this would not be used on this card because they're not cut in the right orientation. Plus it wouldn't look that great with those two. This particular one, maybe. It's the flags that go in the hole. But we're going to keep it with all argyles and plaids. The other side of this one is cool with golf balls and tees. So we'll decide on how we're going to place our papers. And I think think that's how I'm going to flip this plaid. I think that looks pretty good. I'll be using Tombow liquid glue to adhere my layers. With this particular rectangle, it helps just to look at the outer edge when you're putting your pieces on. Very thin bead of glue. You don't need a lot. And you don't want to go close to the edge because you don't want your glue squirting out the edges and getting on your card. I'm just checking my top edge and my side edge to make sure I'm square on that layer. And I'm gonna actually scoot that up just a hair. You have a little bit of movement with your glue, so you have time. And this layer, we'll glue and line it up with that right side layer. Putting it right there. Can you tell I've had 14 cups of coffee today? My hands are a little shaky. Okay. And I'm going to do the top left rectangle next. I'm pretty even there. With these dies, it's really nice. You get just nice square or rectangular pieces. It's really easy to cut out. Sometimes, like this one, you might have a little stray hairs on the edge. If you just run your fingernail along it, you get rid of those. But it's a really nice way to cut paper for a card like this, where you're piecing multiple, different designer series papers, and it's easy to just crank them out on your Big Shot as opposed to remembering lots of different measurements, because your dies stay the same. And there's that layer. And we look pretty good. So I believe the next step, I am going to put that background on my card base, just to start building it. So we'll do another bead of glue on the back of our Whisper White layer. Again, a thin amount of glue, not too much. You don't want your card to warp. And this die is it's the largest rectangle stitch die. It's made for a standard card front. Okay, we have that layer on. Now we're gonna bring in our stitched square that is done in garden green. And we're going to put that as a diamond on this card. And it fits really nice right in the center. I glued this layer down. Also, this will be a little thick card. Again, it might be a 2-stamp card with all our layers, because we will also do our Whisper White on the inside of the card, since it's a colored card base. You really want to put Whisper White for writing on it and being able to see everything nicely. Plus, it really just makes it look like a finished card. Okay. Now we're going to do our stamped portion of the card. I'll set that aside. I have a scrap of Whisper White. Again, we're using Garden Green ink. And we're gonna make this one Happy Birthday because our other one was Happy Father's Day. So there's our Happy Birthday stamp that came out of the Clubhouse bundle. Got a lot of ink on there. Hopefully our first try will be a winner. Again, this is a red rubber stamp. You don't need a lot of pressure on it. It has cushion to it. Looks like it turned out pretty good. I'll try it even one more time. I think I had a lot of ink on it. It's a newer ink pad and it hasn't been used a lot. So I'm really just not gonna press down. I'm gonna just kiss the paper. And so then we're gonna bring in our classic label punch. And looks pretty good. We'll line our stamped image up inside of our punch. And with these punches, when I get it pretty much where I want it, I slightly press down just to hold the paper, and then I punch. And there you have your Happy Birthday image. And if we want to get all of our stamping done or finished before we assemble the rest of our card, here's our inside piece that we'll be able to write on when we mail the card. I mounted the golf ball stamp, and we're doing that in Garden Green also. And again, with the stamp pad being really a fresh one, you don't need to press down too hard on that or on the stamp. Just put that in the bottom right corner. Got a nice image. And while we have the stamp pad out, we can do our envelope. I'm also doing the golf ball on the tee for the envelope. We'll do that in the front left corner. There we go. Never a naked envelope. People get excited when they get their mail and they see a fun envelope instead of a basic one. Now we'll bring our card back in. And on the front, our next layer will be our Night of Navy punched out of the stitch square with the sprigs that go around, I guess, the crest. And we're going to want to pop that layer up because it will really show the punched out image. So we're going to put some dimensionals on that. And I would suggest one in each of these corners. We'll put one in the middle, maybe one right there. And I don't want to leave those corners out. So of course, with your dimensionals, use all your pieces. I cut the edges off and you get your custom shaped dimensionals that way. I do use a lot of dimensionals, but you'd rather have it not collapse. Dimensionals go a long way. You get a lot on a sheet. When you order them, you get 3 sheets in a package. They last quite a long time. These are large dimensionals. They also sell mini dimensionals for more detailed, tinier images that you want to pop up. So we'll eyeball this and get it right in the center. That looks pretty good. And next, our crest. I'm going to glue that down just so we don't have too many popped up layers. with mailing this card. You don't want it too bulky or it'll just squeeze into the envelope. So we'll put that on right where the crust would go. It's moving around a bit, so we'll let that dry a little more. And then we'll pull in our happy birthday. And we're going to glue that layer also. And you only need a little bit of glue on the center of that because the sides of it hang off of that crust. And I just put it right in the center. And when you have shaky coffee hands, you have to use both of your hands to balance it. And there we go with that. We're going to bring in a piece of our twine. I'm going to change it up, and this one I'm going to do with the Night of Navy piece. And I'm just taking my twine. This piece was cut, about 16 inches long. Makes it easy to tie. If I were doing this just on my own and not demonstrating, I probably would just pull my twine and go right off the spool to have less waste. But for demonstration purposes, I just cut a piece. So just like when you're wrapping a package, not too tight, but have it fit snug. And we're just going to tie a knot. And this is when you wish you had a third hand. There we go. If you wanted to have that stay put right where you have it, you could always put a glue dot behind the knot. But I'm going to leave that as is. And of course, I'm looking for my snips. I think they're packed away. Oh, here they are. And we're going to snip that. And this twine, I think I'm gonna unravel it, so it kind of has, you see the just gives it another look. And since I haven't put a glue dot on it yet, if you want to move your knot up, you could. And there is the front. So now we'll glue our inside layer on the inside. Another thin layer of glue. You can certainly use snail if that's your preferred adhesive. When you get used to Tombow, it's very quick. I've been converted. I used to be snail only, and now I'm Tombow only. But some things you really do still need snail for. And now we're gonna burnish our card. So we have a nice flat fold. And there's our happy birthday. And we'll bring in our happy Father's Day version. And as you can see, we switched our papers up a little bit. Everything really goes. It's like Granimals. The colors in this whole DSP pack, designer series paper, really match with the cardstocks. So I hope you liked my video, and I hope you have fun putting your card together. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye.